He wasn't the first person to do that. There was another website that released material, and it's now become apparent that he went to certainly to tip the US government off. He felt the necessity to release. I mean, we had comments about the time we weren't.
Julian Assange released information
I don't think
about Hillary Clinton lies
of his
and murder
to other authorities. But I think it's really a smokescreen for the way that, certainly since the Snowden revelations, which I was also involved in, the US government, the Australian government, the UK government have all tried to tighten up the laws and their punitive behavior towards journalists to try and create a situation where no one will ever do that kind of reporting again. And that video that you kicked this interview off with is one illustration of why that shouldn't be allowed to happen.
You're right, Alan Rusbridger. Why should we care? There's no shortage of people who don't much. They don't like Julian Assange. It has to be conceded he has a unique ability to lose friends and alienate people. Many in the media don't believe he's a proper journalist and therefore won't lift a finger to defend him. It's not like you're a friend of his, Alan.
No, we've had well-publicized fallings out, but I think in the current situation, you have to look beyond the person. Assange has famously fallen out with many people who have tried to work with him, but that's not the point. The point is what is happening in the legal sphere. I mean, the way I like to think about it is to reverse the situation. Imagine that you had an American journalist in London who had been working on, say, I don't know, the Indian nuclear program. We know there is one, but it's secret. And suppose they publish something. Imagine the Indian government saying to the British government, we need to extradite this American journalist and put them in jail in India for breaking our official secrets laws. Can you imagine the American government would allow that to happen? Can you imagine that extradition going ahead?
That's not going to happen.
So as Jen Robinson was just saying, it's all very well for people who think of themselves as proper journalists to sit this one out. But the precedent that is going to be set by this case, if he is extradited, should worry everybody.
Do you think it's valid to make a comparison, for example, with Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter, who's been imprisoned by Putin in Russia? They said he was trying to get military secrets, something a lot of journalists do try to do. What about the U.S. trying to extradite and imprison Julian Assange if found guilty for 175 years? What did he do? Try to release military secrets? He actually did, of the U.S. government.
Well, Russia's an entirely different kind of state, so I wouldn't want to make a direct comparison. But I think there is a problem about official secrecy and the nature of the ability that Edward Snowden revealed of now complete control and surveillance and monitoring of populations. Somebody has to keep these people accountable. They have the power of life and death over us. They have the power of captivity and freedom.
You see?
And anyone who's read George Orwell can see that the state that has that power needs to be monitored.
That's right.
And I'm afraid what the governments are now trying to do is to frighten journalists off. In Britain, you can now go to jail for 14 years as an editor to do what I did with Edward Snowden. And they've explicitly refused to allow any editor the right to a defense. So you can't even explain why you thought this might have been in the public interest. So the danger is that people like Assange, like Chelsea Manning,
criminal censorship,
like the New York Times,
criminal censorship,
are going to be so discouraged from doing what they should be doing that we will be this kind of activity will be completely blind to us in future.
Very quickly, Alan Rusbridger, if you can explain what exactly you did related to Edward Snowden and that hard drive. And let's remember that it was WikiLeaks that helped Ed Snowden when the authorities were moving in on him in Hong Kong to get out of Hong Kong. He ultimately ended up in Russia and couldn't leave the airport because the U.S. pulled his passport. But it was WikiLeaks and Julian Assange who helped him get out. And talk about what you did in the basement of The Guardian.
The British government eventually came to us and said, if you don't agree to stop publishing, we will stop you. And so it was plain there. They were either going to injunct us or they were going to send the police in. So I told them that we would go on reporting from New York, because the First Amendment is a very powerful instrument to defend the press, which is what we did. And the quid pro quo was that we would destroy the computers that we had been using in London. I think that was just a piece of theatre. But it reminds us about why the First Amendment is so important and why we mustn't allow people to chip away at these protections that journalists have.
I want to end with a Meet the Press interview with Joe Biden, then Vice President, in 2010. ABC host David Gregory questioned Biden about Assange.
Should the United States do something to stop Mr. Assange?
We're looking at that right now. Justice Department is taking a look at that, and I'm not going to comment on that process.
Do you think he's a criminal?
If he conspired to get these classified documents with a member of the U.S. military, that's fundamentally different than if somebody drops on your lap, here, David, you're a press person, here is classified material.
Mr. McConnell says he's a high-tech terrorist. Others say this is akin to the Pentagon Papers. Where do you come down?
I would argue that it's closer to being a high-tech terrorist.
You would argue that it is closest, that Julian Assange is being a high-tech terrorist. Alan Rusbridger, your final comment on what you're calling for now.
Because Hillary Clinton
remember a time when Julian Assange was first working in Kenya, releasing documents, when even Hillary Clinton was making speeches about how this was the new form of Salazar publishing, and was in favor of dissidents using the internet to release material. That's all changed now. But I think the world should wake up as to what the nature of the threat is going to be to mainstream journalism if this extradition is successful.
What took place?
Alan Rusbridger was the editor-in-chief of The Guardian for more than 20 years. Now
he revealed when Hillary Clinton lied about the Benghazi scandal and calling the helicopter and the people there terrorists when it was United States soldiers and the SEAL Team 6. He must have let go information on that, and it added up. And now they want to go after him for that. That's what that is. You know what I'm saying? They never let it, and also probably Bush, what he did in Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, and so forth on. So this is why they're not letting them go. You know what I'm saying? But they need to let it go because the information is already out there. You know what I'm saying? So what's the sense of holding on to the information in itself? You know? Doesn't make sense in no shape or form, though, because now we know for a fact that Julian Assange released the right information. By trying to keep Julian Assange under these conditions and doing what they're doing to Julian Assange, you know what I'm saying, it proves to the world that the censorship on the media and the information that we need to understand based on genociding people and blowing up their country and doing garbage is on this situation. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a minute. So we know that on Julian Assange part is concerned, he revealed the information that people really needed to complete, to understand what really was going on. This is something that we have as a people and reporters and those who are watchdogs out here must start to put forward an effort to make sure that we're policing this shit that they're doing in our name. You know what I'm saying? And creep Joe Biden and his secret groups and all the bullshit in the deep state and all the shit that they're doing. They feel that we don't need to know. They don't care, so on and so on. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to kill these millions of people over here in Afghanistan. We're going to kill over here. We're going to blow up the World Trade Center and make you believe that this is true and that is true and this and that and the third and the fourth and the fifth. You know what I'm saying? When Julian released the right information of what took place in the Benghazi situation with Hillary Clinton and how she lied lied about the people that was there were terrorists when they were not. You know what I'm saying? And you left soldiers there to die. You left soldiers there to die. You know what I'm saying? And I guess she did not do what she was supposed, but calling herself a Secretary of State. You know what I'm saying? She was never second. She's a crook, a criminal, and a Baphomet worshiper. You know what I'm saying? Ask her who she followed. She gonna tell you God, because she know the God that they're talking about is not the same one that you're talking about. So we know for well that Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, you know what I'm saying, even Michelle Obama and all of them are part of this conspiracy garbage that we see going on in our government today, and the conspiracy runs deep. So we have to fight for Julian Assange freedom and his safety as a whole. Let's get it together, people. Let's go. One.